Kunqiu Opera was born in Kunshan, Jiangsu Province. Being immersed in the region south of the Yangtze River for centuries has given it a delicate and elegant aura. However, this Kunqiu Opera Museum, the only one in China, was originally a guild hall built by the bold Shanxi merchants. Over 300 years ago, where there were Shanxi merchants, there would be their guild halls. Oatmeal noodles from northern Shanxi and crystal glutinous rice balls from southern China are served together here. The loud shouts of Bongzhu opera and the gentle whispers of Kunqiu opera mingled with each other. Both Shanxi people's northern Mandarin and the soft dialect of Jiangsu and Zhujiang could often be heard in conversation. Various elements coexisted in harmony and together promoted the region's development, fully reflecting the Chinese culture of harmony that the people practiced every day without even realizing it. In its heyday, there were as many as 558 Shanxi merchant guild halls. They covered almost all the country's commercial towns and ports, and even parts of Europe and other Asian countries. Shanxi merchants spread their business philosophy of joining hands to achieve common prosperity on every piece of land they marched through. The Panhe River and the Jiaohu River run through the 1,900-year-old CGTN ancient town in Nanyang, Henan Province. Thousands of boats pass during the daytime, and tens of thousands of lights light up the night. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, this town was a nationally renowned wharf and a transit station on the Tea Road. CGTN town itself represents half of the history of commerce. Traces left by Shanxi merchants are everywhere in the town's strong business culture. More than 200 years ago, operas that told wonderful stories of various eras were staged in this theater, built by Shanxi and Shanxi merchants. But those lively scenes were actually the results of a penalty system. During the reign of Emperor Yongjong in the Qing dynasty, some unscrupulous merchants appeared who made improper profits by using two different sets of scales. People had to bring their own scales with them when they went shopping in the market. Shanxi and Shanxi merchants gathered in the Guildhall to find a way to put an end to the fraudulent use of scales and maintain market fairness. They eventually decided to establish a set of rules and standardize the weights and measures of the scales. Those who refused to follow the standard would be punished by treating the others to 3 opera performances. This tablet of the agreed standard of Dongzhi scales by peer merchants carved in 1724 is thought to be China's earliest set of business administration regulations. A few lines turn market order, previously maintained through virtue and self-discipline, into clear rules and regulations for the first time. That was more than 80 years before the French enacted the world's first commercial code.
Bueno, la primera organización fue en Londres el Engineering Standards Committee, que se creó en 1901 y que luego posteriormente en 1931 pasó a ser la British Standard International Organization, ¿no? la organización que se encargaba de los estándares británicos, ¿no? Pero los estándares de los comerciantes de Shanxi yo creo que fueron un buen precedente para este tipo de organizaciones, ¿no? Porque ellos habían comenzado ya a tener estándares mucho antes, ¿no? En el siglo XVIII, incluso a principios del siglo XIX.
Of the 9 surviving tablets in the Shanxi Guildhall in CGTN town, 7 document the rules of business ethics that were jointly formulated by Shanxi and Shanxi merchants from that time. The tablet of agreed rules for grocery stores, carved in 1785, records as many as 18 business rules.
这块石碑的内容呢，涉及面非常广，比如说不能私自设立招牌，不能强买强卖，不能打价格战等等。这些呢，其实是当时秦晋两地商人共同商议的一种行业规则。所以说，山陕会馆不仅仅是一个通商情、崇中义的地方，它更是一个行业的一个自律机构。正是有了这种自律，商人们才形成了巨大的合力，才促使当时的商贸迅速发展。
The world exists because of harmony and grows because of unity. Shanxi merchants already understood this more than 200 years ago. Today, the world faces the global mission of building a community with a shared future for mankind and a choice between zero-sum gains and win-win cooperation. Chinese people are once again determined to make joint efforts and make the pie of humanity's modernization bigger. This solid faith comes from the culture of harmony that flows in the veins of Chinese people. In Anhua County, Hunan Province, men have been singing this tea-making song for over 200 years. A thick stick of dark tea was made amid the chanting of several strong men. According to different production processes and degrees of fermentation, Chinese people classify tea into green, white, yellow, oolong, black, and dark tea. Anhua is the hometown of dark tea. Over 200 years ago, during the dark tea season, a tea merchant from Shanxi met Shen Guangying, a tea merchant from Anhua, on the Zhejiang River.
这条江叫资江，是长江支流湖南4大河流之一，是历史上安化黑茶向外运输的黄金通道。200多年前，晋商长家的马掌柜来到安化采办茶叶，就在这条江上，马掌柜乘坐的木船触礁进水，刚好碰到了回乡探亲的慎家先祖慎观音，于是便搭船同行。搭船啦！搭船啦！
来喽！
今天我要搭的这条船是盛家第7代传人盛超美的船。
来，快上船，
咱们出发吧。
好。
据说那年盛观音的船驶入了安化和桃江的交界处，这个时候突然出现了一帮劫匪。当时马掌柜身上还带有一大包银子。
对，没错。当时这种情形下，我们家这位老爷爷急中生智，用船棚做掩护，把银子就藏到了芦苇荡中。那劫匪上了船之后，就没有收到任何有价值的东西，只能扫兴而回。我们家老爷爷翻回去芦苇荡，把马掌柜的银子又拿出来，保全了我们马掌柜的财产。
Later, Shen Guaning learned that this guest surnamed Ma from Shanxi was the manager working for the Cheng family, who went to Anhua to purchase tea. Coincidentally, the Shen family happened to be a renowned tea-making family in Anhua. The two had a great time, which resulted in the two families working together from Shanxi to Hunan along the tea road. In 1810, the Cheng family in Shanxi and the Shen family in Hunan jointly established the trade name Jin Rich Tea. There are many more stories between Shanxi merchants and Anhua tea traders. In the Dark Tea Museum in Anhua, this business summary from over 200 years ago recorded the scenes of the prosperous tea market along the Zhejiang River.
当时候呢，安化有句谚语，就是茶是草，客是宝，茶客不来不得了。其实就是讲安化有很多人一年到头就是以茶叶为生，如果山西客人不过来，他们的茶叶卖不掉，就一年的生计就没有着落。
During the Qing dynasty, there were more than 300 tea stores opened by Shanxi merchants along the Zhejiang River. The inscriptions on Yangshi Bridge tell the story of the donations they made to build the bridge. In the Dark Tea Museum stands the tea bell, donated by Shanxi and Shanxi merchants. Precious memories of mutual help and joint efforts on the long tea road have also been engraved by descendants of Shanxi merchants on the southern-style pavilions and terraces.
比如这个就是典型的南方砖雕，您看小狮子的表情调皮可爱，它和北方的这种庄重威严的狮子的表情呢，在风格上有很大的差别。而且当时我们常家庄园里种植了大量的这种南方的植物，形成了一座典型的南北文化这样融合的园林。
Grass, trees, bricks, tiles, and other graceful elements from the south seemed to fit easily into the lowest plateau and quickly took root in this land. Without exception, all courtyards had the Chinese character for harmony, he, in their names, such as Yanghe Hall, Tihe Hall, Guanghe Hall, and Guihe Hall.
19世纪20年代到20世纪初，全国50%以上的金融机构都挤在这条不足800米的街道上，也是在这里诞生了中国票号业最早的股份合作制。
When setting up the first private banks, Shanxi merchants realized that even a family's wealth, accumulated over generations, couldn't cover the huge amount of capital required to start a private bank. But if they could gather together the wealth distributed among peers and form a collaborative system of binding interest, they would be able to solve the problem of funds, as well as achieve a sustainable win-win situation. The joint stock system was then formed.
银股就是财力股，是财东出资，通过资本来分红的这么一种形式。他们每人出资的数量 少的有几千年，多的时候呢可以达到几万年甚至几十万年。这样的话呢，众多出资人就坐在了一条船上，他们同舟共济，共谋发展。
In the shareholding mechanism established by Shanxi merchants, in addition to financial shares, there were also labor shares. Those with labor shares would also be considered partners of the enterprise and would thus share a common destiny with it. Ma Xun was a salesman at a grain store under Fu Shanxi, which belonged to the Chao family in Shanxi. During his 4 years as an apprentice and 10 years as a clerk, he closed almost 80% of the store's deals. Though Ma Xun was a rare business talent, his annual salary was only 20 taels of silver. The ambitious Ma Xun then tendered his resignation to Chao Juyong, the leader of the Chao family. No one expected a clerk's resignation to become a legendary footnote for a far-reaching reform.
马群要辞职之后，乔致庸做出了一个巨大的决定，也就是凡是愿意跟乔致庸在字号里面继续创业发展的，给他们酌顶一定的深股。
People have always been the greatest productive force. Chao Juyong was well aware of this and didn't want to lose any talent that could create more wealth and greater possibilities for him.
这项改革的核心呢，就是由高层享受深股扩展到普通的员工，它是一种深股制度的进一步创新。中国人呢比较崇尚和为贵，而平等是合作的前提。我们说呢，也是和衷共济的一个基础。
The reform of the labor share system soon motivated the employees. In the following decade, although Chao Juyong gave more than half of the profits to his employees, his income was 18.81 times that of 10 years earlier. Shanxi merchants established a community of common interest for employees and enterprises, achieving a pioneering feat in the history of human resource management in China. The tremendous power released by this fundamental change also enabled Shanxi merchants to extend their businesses to other parts of the world. A golden era of global business had begun. This building complex, built in the shape of the Chinese character for longevity, has 3 courtyards. It was thus named the Hall of Triple Abundance, referring to many children, good fortune, and longevity. The Tao family in Taiguo built 4 courtyards, named Fortune, Emolument, Longevity, and Happiness. This is the only one that remains today, which is already enough to show how wealthy the Tao family was back then.
"这张纸叫钱帖子，是一种原始纸币。在钱帖子上注明银两的数量和金额，就可以代替现银流通支付。清光绪年间，各家票号为了方便客户不用随身携带大量现银，纷纷发行钱帖子。可一些别有用心之人却惦记上了发行量较大的瞿侨2大商贾。
Rumors circulated that paper money issued by the Chu and Chao families was about to depreciate. This caused their customers throughout the country to crowd into branches to exchange their paper money for silver. The Chu and Chao families did everything they could, but their branches in northeast China and Inner Mongolia closed down one after another. They had no choice but to ask their old rivals, the Tao family, for help. Should they compete or merge, pursue morality or profit, kick their rivals when they're down, or lend them a helping hand. After more than a decade of rivalry, and with victory within reach, the Tao family unexpectedly reached out to their rivals at the last minute. They announced that the paper money issued by the Chao and Chu families could be exchanged for silver at the branches of the Tao family's private bank. The news soon ended the bank run.
当遇到市场危机时，三家联手救市，以曹家的商誉、曹家的实力，挽救了两家企业生存的危机。经商在市场风险中，在处理风险事件上，坚守和为贵、和衷共济，这个品质十分宝贵。
The last-minute decision to offer help allowed the Chu and Chao families to survive the crisis and continue their businesses. In return, the two families made many concessions in the market in northeast China and allowed the Tao family to further increase its market share. They went from being competitors to business partners. Pursuing profit is the nature of business, but Shanxi merchants always said that a promise was worth 10,000 taels of silver. Adherence to business ethics naturally created a healthy business ecology and business environment. Shanxi merchants understood the truth that only by working together could they get through difficulties and realize common prosperity. To build an enduring business, win-win must become the pursuit, as well as the rule for everyone. This philosophy of developing business based on harmony allowed them to gradually become the country's wealthiest merchants. In the second half of the 19th century, China was on the verge of collapse. The Qing dynasty was decaying amidst internal and external crises, and was no longer able to protect the wealth, dignity, or even the lives of its people. Trade in Kiakta was declining. Many of the Chinese tea stores were out of business, and only 10 of the 120 were still open. The industry was barely alive. By 1868, there were only 4 stores ran by Shanxi merchants in Kiakta. Not willing to simply lay down and meet their doom, Shanxi merchants decided to join forces and fight back. In 1867, Shanxi merchants Cheng Wapeng, Wu Peng-un, and Kung Guangzhou, on behalf of the business community, proposed to the Qing government that the Guihua-Kuluan Kiakta trade route be reopened, which was approved by the government. They also persuaded the government to cut tea taxes and allow them to go to Russia to conduct business. Chinese merchants who once had to retreat to Guihua returned to Kiakta in droves. Tens of thousands of camels loaded with goods deployed by the Guihua Chamber of Commerce set out for Zhengjiakou, Baotou, Uliastai, Kobda, and left for Russia.
第1年，中国商人向俄国输出茶叶11万担，到第3年就翻倍增加到每年20万担。
In 1871, a submarine cable was laid across Europe and Asia from Moscow to Shanghai. This made Russian merchants the first to say goodbye to an era of horses and enter the age of telecommunications. The key to running a successful business lies in the smooth flow of information. But how could the horses and carriages of the farming age outrun the telegraph of the information age? At this time, the Da Shengkui firm in Guihua shared an old-fashioned method with its peers. They trained some smart mail dogs to pass messages between the headquarters in Guihua and its branches.
那就狗就3天3夜不吃不喝一直跑回来。路上如果遇到什么困难啊，过去草原上狼很多呀，所以它有互相劝，钉的那个狼牙钉，把这个信缝到那个互相夹层里。 等回来把那个往开一拆，看他信息，哦，马上就要开市了，复市了，赶快组织会员，大发了一笔。
Using dogs for communication was a trade secret that kept Dashenghui one of the top firms for hundreds of years. At this point, they didn't hesitate to turn this secret into an opportunity for all its peers. The best male dogs could run up to 70 kilometers per hour, but even they had no chance of beating the speed of the telegraph. The race between Shanxi merchants' mail dogs and the Russian telegraph, and between camels and advanced vehicles, eventually ended with Chinese merchants' failure. This was due to a number of factors, such as the inaction of the Qing government and the Industrial Revolution. The tea road, stretching for tens of thousands of kilometers, came to a sad but noble end. However, the collective wisdom of Chinese merchants to work together and fight against foreign bullies was like a ray of light in that dark era of internal and external crises. Green mountains can't stop water flowing. Eastward, the river keeps on going. Although camels can never outrun trains, and the hands of tea workers are no match for machines, history has repeatedly told us that harmony in diversity is the fundamental premise for people to get along with each other. It's the basic rule for achieving win-win in commercial competition, and the universal value for the whole world to live by in building a community with a shared future for mankind. Shanxi merchants adhered to the philosophy of joining hands to achieve common prosperity and wrote their glorious story of commerce in the process. They also played an invaluable part in the construction of a harmonious and civilized world.